Gospođa Narinder Čauhan, ambasadorka Indije ovdje u Srbiji, u našoj zemlji je više od 3,5 godine. Došla sam ovdje u njenu kuću, ovdje gdje ona živi u Beogradu, da je pitam šta je ono što je za nju bilo neverovatno kada je došla ovdje u Srbiju. Jer naše kulture su toliko različite. I iz tog razloga ja joj postavljam to prvo pitanje. What was for you amazing when you came for the first time to Serbia? What was the unusual which surprised you very, very much?
What surprised me was that despite the lack of any effective presence of Indians in Serbia, Serbia remained a very, very pro-India country. People are extremely pro-India, very positive about India. They are very friendly, they are very nice, very hardworking, very loyal. And institutionally, Serbia is and remains pro-India. And I did not even have to knock, and all the doors opened for me.
In fact, you're working now on a kind of to get closer, and you're sending some people there to visit India for the first time, right?
Yes, yes. In fact, as you know, recently we celebrated 70 years of India's independence, and I got the greatest gift from the government of Serbia when the Prime Minister of Serbia herself, very kind of her, very gracious of her, she called me up herself and said that on that very date, that was August 22, her government had taken a decision to abolish visas for Indians. So now this is going to be a game changer, because this is going to throw open the connectivity even more, and more Indians are going to come for tourism, and more business is going to take place.
You are a real follower of Ayurveda. For us, Ayurveda and the Indian way of treating the patient was something we read about. Now you brought that. You personally are following Ayurveda.
Yes, yes.
Does it mean that when you don't feel well, that you're not going to go to see a doctor, that you are going to apply some old methods? Tell me the secrets.
You see, this is how I think you can ascribe this to my upbringing. As a child, I used to see my grandfather grow aloe vera, and he used to peel out the thorny part of the aloe vera and eat the pulp of aloe vera very raw. And I used to wonder as a child as to why is my grandfather growing cactus on the terrace, and why is he eating cactus? But now I realize that aloe vera, and that was the real, the main reason why my grandfather lived to be almost 100, and he was in a very fit and fine condition. I never knew of him visiting a doctor ever.
Evo ovdje je klinika Ayurveda, klinika u Čenaju. Idem da saznam nešto više o tome kako se tu leče oni koji su oboleli. U ovim bočicama nalaze se Ayurveda lekovi. Međutim, kada primenjujete Ayurvedu, onda za to treba vreme. Ako hoćete problem da brzo rešite, onda se pribegava zapadnoj medicini. Explain me what I see here.
This is the treatment table where we do all these panchakarma treatments. Patient is laid down on this. This is usually made out of a wood like neem. A wood, a tree which has got medicinal properties. Massage with medicated oil. That is a basic treatment to improve the movements in the body. It's movement in different levels like blood flow, venous drainage, cellular movement, nervous conduction, intestinal movement, muscle contraction. And that movement, whenever it is impaired, this is where you start getting difficulties. Cancer, kind of a degenerative disease, causative factors, 50% lies in the mind. A deviated or a disorder of mind, which is not at all relaxed, contributes very strongly to the degenerative changes in the body. So unless this strong plane is normalized, any change in the body is temporary. Whatever treatment you are giving, it is temporary. See, the mind is still not defined. What exactly is mind? Without knowing what is mind, we talk about its functions, its disorders, diseases, solutions. Everything is half, 50%, half-baked. So we have a different understanding of mind, which is based on philosophy, not science, a little spiritual. Fine? So there, the mind is not physical at all, whereas in science it is something physical. For us, it is metaphysical.
I was working very hard these days. Do you think I can continue
Yes,
in India?
yes, definitely,
Can I?
definitely.
Thank you, sir.
In India, traditionally, India is a very ancient civilization. It is not only one of the most ancient civilizations on earth, it is also one of the most advanced, or the most advanced. And it is ancient India that gave to the world the knowledge of Ayurveda. And the whole idea about Ayurveda was that people ate to live. They did not live to eat. And the way what they ate contributed to the wellness of their body and mind.
How do you look at our people in these eating habits? Be honest.
Well, as far as Serbia is concerned, wherever you go, whether it's in Belgrade or in some of the smaller cities or suburbs, you find that the quality of food, as well as the method of cooking and presentation, is of a very, very high quality. I think Serbia places a lot of importance on eating and on hospitality, and wherever you go, you have a full table laid before you, and every lunch or every dinner is at least 3 hours. That becomes a challenge, but the fact remains that although you eat a lot of meat, but your food processing industry is very, very advanced, and I have seen that your country is non-GMO, as well as there is a lot of organic farming. And this is where India and Serbia can connect with each other, because there is a lot of yearning in India for anything that is exotic, anything that is Serbian. In India, we have an upwardly mobile young population. 65% of our population is of the age of 35 years and below. And for them, anything coming from Serbia would be very, very exotic. I think these are areas where India and Serbia can get together. And as far as Ayurveda is concerned, there is a huge, huge recognition within Serbia of the values of yoga, Ayurveda, and these have been legalized in the Serbian law.
I noticed one thing. After you came to this country, and when I go out somewhere, or I talk to friends, they say, are you putting every day a spoon of this powder in it? What is the name of it?
As far as turmeric is concerned, it's a really gift of nature to mankind, and turmeric really is an art and a science in itself. See, turmeric, if you are standing in the kitchen and if you accidentally cut your finger, then you're not going to run. Now, every housewife in India is not going to run to the doctor to get a tetanus injection or to get medically treated. What she reaches for is turmeric on her mantelpiece in the kitchen, and she takes a pinch of turmeric, puts it on the wound, and it not only acts as an antiseptic, it also prevents blood flow. It immediately stops the blood, which means it leads to blood clotting, and it also prevents blood hemorrhage. It also acts as an antiseptic. It prevents infections. So therefore, it builds your immunity and therefore leads to long life. Therefore, turmeric is a very essential part in every Indian kitchen, and it is put into every curry.
Do you think we started to use that here?
Yes, turmeric, in fact, it is known as kurma, I think. Kurkura. It is getting increasingly popular in Serbia, and whenever we hold our charity events or Indian ethnic and food fairs, we always get a huge demand for turmeric.
Now, the thing is what I did notice. that you're working very hard, you're working all day, but that every day this is that time when you come home. And you are very, very strict about having your lunch at home, which is prepared always by your mother personally. Is it a kind of a habit? Is it a kind of following a kind of a, balance between all these invitations, all those people around you? And then I noticed another thing. Your socializing is very specific. You don't go to all the events. Do you believe in exchanging energy, or it must be something?
As far as food is concerned, I really love inviting people over for a piping hot Indian meal because this is something which is otherwise not available in Serbia. And secondly, when you cook at home, it is always different. And when we cook at home, as you say, we always follow very consciously or unconsciously Ayurveda. And we use very natural ingredients. And many of these ingredients we bring from home. But some of those we create here too. Like for instance, we buy butter, unsalted butter, from preferably organic butter from the Serbian supermarket, and then we process it in our kitchen and we make natural ghee. It is very pure ghee which we put in all our whether it is vegetables or dals or curries. And according to Ayurveda, desi ghee is a very, very healthy form of fat, and it is always desi ghee that should be used in every Indian cooking. Mm-hmm.
In fact, when you have a flu, a grippe, right? Tell me exactly what you do.
Well, whenever I have flu, what we do is, first and foremost, we look for turmeric, we look for ginger, and we mix it. And we put a dash of honey and we take it. This builds our immunity. And it is also said that we must take a lot of vitamin C. So we sometimes grow, for instance, in my kitchen garden in India, I grow lemon. So we squeeze lemon into water and we drink lemon. And very importantly, Indian tea is very helpful whenever we have flu or fever. And Indian tea, whether it's Darjeeling or whether it's Nilgiri or whether it's the Kangra tea in the mountains, it really helps in soothing the nerves, in really warming up your insides.
Your Excellency, tell me one thing. What is the secret of avoiding the negative energies? Because when I was in India and I visited India, at once, after a time of a week, I felt very, very peaceful. It was not shouting, it was any kind of an aggression. The people were very, very willing to help. You know what it is. And the country is not so rich. You have a part which is rich and the part which is very, very poor. How it is handled?
India is very rich spiritually. As I said, we are one of the most ancient civilizations. And India is home to 4 major religions in the world. One is Hinduism, which actually is a way of life. And Hinduism, incidentally, does not have an organized church. Within Hinduism, there is a lot of plurality and there is a lot of freedom within Hinduism. And then Buddhism. Buddhism is also originated in India, and Buddhism spread, in fact, throughout Southeast Asia, throughout East Asia, as also in West Asia. Then Jainism, and the youngest religion in the world, that is Sikhism. In fact, I am a Sikh. And in our religion, and every Indian is a very spiritual person, but his spirituality, he practices within the confines of his home. He does not impose his spirituality on anyone else. And it is because everyone is so spiritual, everyone reaches out to the other person and is very, very naturally and by instinct very helpful.
don't believe the ultimate aim to go to the heaven. We believe liberate from the heaven and hell condition. We believe ultimate peace, ultimate place, that is what we call moksha. According to Hindu philosophy, anyone can attain moksha in any corner of the globe if they have 10 qualities in themselves. What are those 10 qualities? First in Sanskrit and then in English. In Sanskrit it is said like this: Dhritik kshamadamo steya shaucham indriya nigraha dhir vidya satyam akrodho dashakam dharma lakshanam. Number 1, patience, forgiveness, humbleness, honesty, purity of thought, control over your senses, courage, knowledge, truthfulness, and last but not least is control over your anger. Today or tomorrow, everybody will die. If a child born, one thing you can predict without any hesitation, that he or she will die. So death is the ultimate truth of the life. If we cannot, means in other culture, we are a little scared of death. But here in Indian culture, in Sanatan culture, in Hinduism, we follow the death. Because death is not the pain. Death is removing you from the pain.
The trauma that Serbia has gone through in these past 17 years, we went through the same trauma 70 years ago. We became a divided nation. Overnight, millions of people were rendered homeless. They became refugees. They became internally displaced persons. My own family lost everything overnight, and they had to start their life from a scratch all over again. And here I am today before you as India's ambassador to Serbia.
Do you know that, in fact, we have a kind of a very romantic approach about India, It's a beautiful country, fantastic way of thinking, which always makes us peaceful. But we do not know that it is a very, very large, big, monumental world power. Are you hiding it, or somebody is suppressing that?
Wherever I go in Serbia, I'm reminded about the history of our relations. And there is a huge yearning to know more and more about India, to know more about Indian politics, Indian economy, to know more and more about culture, and very importantly, to know more and more about what the youth in India are doing. And therefore, it is in this spirit that we are sending the Serbians to India, and we are bringing in Indians from Serbia, and we are utilizing this new connectivity and this new relationship that is now emerging into bringing the two nations even more closer.
Do you think that you can make here your home? What do you think? Because there are many things which you discovered which you like very much. Maybe we don't see them because we are living here.
Yes, precisely. This is like, even in India, we don't see how beautiful India is. Similarly, I don't think Serbians are really aware of how beautiful their own country is, how beautiful the people themselves are, how nice, how kind, how hospitable, and how hardworking and how loyal. And also I have discovered new and new places. Do you know that it is in your country that the Danube is at its longest, about 600 kilometers? And do you know that in your own country, the Danube is at its widest and the deepest? And these are such gems of which not every Serbian is aware, leave alone everyone in India. And this is a word that we are spreading to India, that please visit Serbia, please take maximum advantage of this visa-free entry into Serbia.
I see this is your home, where you brought some of very, very specific things from your country. This is where you live.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, yes.
It's interesting. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a museum, you know?
Because you see a mix of everything, something Indian, something Serbian, something from a still third country.
You know? And here, show me here. I see some very, very interesting. What is this?
First of all, we'll take off our shoes
Yeah?
because this is the abode of the god, and this is where we pay our homage and we bow our head and seek blessings of the god. This is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the embodiment of Lord Vishnu, who preserves the earth. In India, there is a triumvirate of gods. One is first God Brahma, who is the creator, God Vishnu, who is the preserver, and Lord Vishnu, who sustains the universe and can be the destroyer also. So it is this triumvirate of gods that we worship in India. And Lord Krishna is the embodiment of this triumvirate, and more particularly the incarnation of Lord Vishnu on earth. And God has always incarnated itself on earth from time to time to save the earth from destruction.
And here I see something.
Yes,
What?
you know, this is a potato, and this has come from the kitchen, and this is a potato that we have used so that we can put in it the incense stick which we light every morning, and the incense from the stick then spreads all over the house and creates very positive energy.
Recall the day when you were informed that you are going to become Ambassador of India to Serbia.
Well, I was sitting in Ottawa on a very cold, wintry day when I received information that I will be coming to Serbia on my next assignment. And it was such a happy feeling because Belgrade, as you know, should be the place of pilgrimage for every Indian student of international relations. Belgrade is the birthplace of non-alignment, and in fact, Serbia and Belgrade and your leadership co-founded the non-aligned movement, and Belgrade went on to become the first capital city of among the non-aligned countries to host the summit of the non-aligned leaders. And your leadership put a lot of effort into this process.
That you are going again to reconstruct that relation and in fact to put India on the same limelight like it was with Tito?
Yes, precisely. In fact, before coming here, when I called on my Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, and I assured him that my mission motive would be to revive the glory of the India-Serbia relationship, the glory that existed in the New Delhi-Belgrade relationship.
Every day you come home for a lunch. Your mother is preparing this lunch for you. Is it in fact a way of living and preserving energy, or what it is?
Well, in India it is a tradition. This is the way we were brought up, that we always ate at home. We rarely went out to eat, and it is at home that we prepare fresh food. And Ayurveda says that food should always be eaten very fresh, and food should always be eaten within 3 hours of preparing it. And we prepare food with fresh vegetables, and we have brought spices and other pulses and legumes from India, And many of the vegetables, unfortunately, that we eat in India are not even available in Serbia. And that is something that we miss.
You prepared everything?
Yeah, every day.
Every day, every day. All days long, every day.
In morning, evening, and fresh.
You know, Mira, I was brought up by my grandfather, and I have always lived with the elders in the house. It is such a blessing, and I have always been blessed by them. And that is the reason why I stand here before you as India's ambassador. It's really a very, very privileged position that I enjoy today. And it is all because of my grandfather and my grandmother's blessings. And you have seen my mother. And my mother has done the same for my children. And we have always lived with 3 generations in the same house, under the same roof. And this provides us so much succor. And it is a tradition in India that, in India we do not have these unemployment doles or social security benefits, etc. Why? Because the society itself is a security net, is a safety net. That we in our homes, we always live with our parents and we always live with our children. And this is how the values pass from one generation to the other. And this is how our traditions, our folklore passes from one generation to the other. Despite the fact, Mira, that I was brought up in a home where we lived among 3 generations of our family members, despite that, I'm all alone here, on my duty, with my mother, and I really miss the presence of elders in the family. But we have to make this sacrifice if we have to serve our country.